Happy Friday, everybody. This is Brian Terrian from the Disability Digest. Hope everybody's had a great week. Welcome to the Disability Digest live event. In these events, we cover some of the big picture items that's going on in the disability world, especially relative to the questions that have been submitted to us from you folks. So, in an effort to cover those, that's what we're going to go through today. Some of the key topics that have been brought up. I have some of the time frames and expectations for going through the disability approval process. Also, for continuing disability reviews, we're going to talk about that. There was a video that I put out earlier this week about um, three key signs you're going to get denied, which created an abundance of topics and conversations about treatment. So I'm just going to dig into that one a little bit. But as you are coming and trickling in, this is really about you and to answer any questions that you might have. So you're welcome to type those in the chat as we get going here. Um, and what I would like to do is I'm going to put this comment in there. I just put in the chat um, a question about what number best represents your Social Security disability case status. One is you haven't applied, two is you're applied and waiting, three is you've applied and denied, four is you're approved. Sorry, the text is kind of jammed together. But if you could just put the number out there, it'd be good to have a feel for where everybody's at, so we can, direct our questions accordingly. Sound like a plan? Awesome. Let's get going. First of all, I want to talk about the treatment piece, and the questions about the treatment is if you want to get your benefits or you want to keep your benefits. The three key criteria. I'm not going to go through the whole video again. Are you have conditions, they're being treated by a doctor, and you have limitations. Now, the one in the middle is the one that created the most questions. And the response was, thanks for putting the numbers up, by the way, very helpful. Is if you can't get the treatment or you're not going to treatment or you can't afford treatment, what do you do? I really don't have an answer for that. There's very few exceptions because that is the criteria. Social Security expects you to find a way to get treated going through the process so you can get approved. And once you're approved, you have access to Medicare, which has an abundance of wonderful treatment options that you can take advantage of. And that might put you in a situation where you're geographically limited to get to doctors, but you got to find a way, really. If you want to keep your benefits or if you want to get them approved, there isn't any exceptions to the treatment rule, right? So, all right, good. We have a bunch of fours. That means we have a good bunch of people here that are approved. We have applied and waiting. Very good. And as a reminder, you can type your questions in there. So, considering we have a good group of you that are approved here, I want to talk about the continuing disability reviews, which has also had a lot of questions. There's been 4 tips now that have been put out from the Attorney James Brown interview on the YouTube channel. We're starting to release the whole comprehensive how-to kit, how to prepare for your review, what to do if you have one. If you're stuck and you got your benefits denied, there's legal support that you can access in there. Which is fantastic because it's really hard to get legal support. So that is going out to members that are members of the Disability Digest. If you're not, I'll explain at the end how you can get involved, get a no charge membership. If you are in a situation where you have a CDR and you're having some issues with it and you're new or you're just joining us as a member, just reach out to us either when you register on our support desk and tell us your story. We'll read it. And if it makes sense, we'll slide you up to the top of the list so you can get in to the course. So that's how we're doing it. And again, we're just releasing this in order of priority to our members because it has legal support and other support options with it, and we only have so much resources to manage that. And the other question that's been commonly brought up about the reviews is, will I be reviewed? I just was reviewed. I've been reviewed 3 times. Will I be reviewed again? And I don't know the answer. I don't think anybody knows the answer if you'll be reviewed. The only exception to that is when you cross the threshold and your full retirement age, then you're outside of the disability, Social Security disability jurisdiction. You won't be reviewed. You can earn more money. All of that. And just keep in mind, if you're getting and thinking about that, your check amount stays the same. Your status just changes from disability recipient to full retirement amount. That's the deal there, right? Okay. There's some questions about how our Disability Digest membership works. And I just want to go through a how to on that because our focus is to help you get your benefits, keep them, and maximize them. When you join us as a member, one of the key things to do, complete the profile, of course. But once you complete the profile, you want to make sure that your email address gets confirmed. In today's email world, as you may know, there is an abundance of junk out there. And what that has caused is problems for companies like us, people like you, to be able to communicate back and forth. So, the one simple thing that you can do to get our messages and information is to make sure that you confirm your membership. We send you an email. It says Disability Digest membership confirmation required. You click the link. We're locked in to communicate to each other. Suggest you set up a folder, and so that the information that we receive goes in there. And not all the information is going to be spot on and address your interests, because we have different guest speakers and interviews on different topics, from Josh Blue, the comedian, to Mike Sanders, the ticket to work expert. So it's a broad spectrum. But if you organize it and put it in there and like, oh, well, maybe that one's of interest, I'll come back to it later, or that one I want to do now. That's how you can get the most out of the membership that you have here. Um, all right, so let's see. We want to see if, just a reminder to those that have joined, if you would look at it would be the last text or message that I put in about what your case status is. It looks like the majority of individuals here are on 4, which means that you're approved. Okay, I'm going to take a look at some of the questions that we have here today. And Medicare is great, except 20% once you owe. Okay. Well, here's the thing. So, uh, this is a question from Effie. Medicare is great, except that 20% that you owe. Because of COVID now, you get a bill for what the amount is. Okay. There's a, if you are just on straight Medicare A and B as a disability recipient, or for anybody for that matter, you are in a very dangerous situation because, as Effie has mentioned, Medicare A and B has a 20% coinsurance. So for Part A, if you go to the hospital, you pay 20%, Medicare pays 80%. Part B is for the doctors, 20% you pay, 80% Medicare pays. Now, the challenge with that is it's better than no insurance, but that 20% doesn't have a cap. So I'm going to give you an example. We had a member here, Doris. Well, she was a member. She contacted us after she had a major medical event. She had a diabetic heart attack. She was in the ICU for 4 days, and she ran up an $87,000 bill. And she's responsible for 20% of that. So she had a bill like $17,000. And she's in a situation where that's really the primary treating source in case of an emergency in her community. And they didn't, they're not going to let her back in there. So it really devastated her. So how most people are set up with their healthcare, their Medicare, is they close that gap so you're not exposed to that major medical expense. And you can do that two ways. One is not common at all, and that's through a Medigap plan. And a Medigap plan is you pay a monthly amount to close that gap of 20%. And the reason why it's not common is you have to pay for it. Usually, if you're on a fixed income, that's not attractive. And if you have pre existing conditions, which pretty much everybody here does, then it's either difficult to get approved or it increases your rate. And if you're under 65, then it increases your rate even more. So you could spend $2,000 to $5,000 to close that gap with a Medigap plan. So that's not super common. What is a Medicare Advantage plan. And Effie, I don't know if you're on one of these or if you want to learn more about it. You can certainly contact us as part of your membership. We do a benefit review and look at your options. But here's how they work. You would not use your Medicare card anymore. You would go into a private insurance plan that would manage your Medicare, like United Healthcare or Aetna or Humana or Wellcare. It's a pile of them. Most markets have 30, 40 plans. New York City has 85 plans. So you find a plan that would suit your needs. And if you go into this plan, you're leaving your traditional Medicare, and Medicare now pays whatever company that you go into. I'm going to use United Healthcare as an example. And they're paying them $14,000 a year, somewhere in that area, depending on your zip code. And so now their job is to manage your healthcare. So they put together this attractive plan that has some common features to it that are: one, there's no monthly premium; two, they significantly reduce that maximum out of pocket, like that Doris had for $17,000. So you might have an annual out of pocket somewhere between 1,500 and 6,700, somewhere in that area, but it's not a killer $17,000. I also know people that have had higher amounts. They've been airlifted, and they've really rung up some bills. So that's how you can do it. And these plans also allow you to see your primary care, usually for low to no copay. You can see specialists for a reduced amount. They have dental, hearing, vision, shopping credits, food cards, gym membership. They have all these other things. Now, it might sound too good to be true, but keep in mind that United Healthcare is getting paid to have you in this plan, so they want to make it attractive, so they can bring you in and they can keep you. So that's the deal there. And if you're on one, which I expect most of you are, if you're a four out there, then it's always good to review, especially because the plans change every year. And if your condition changes, like you develop a condition, like maybe you didn't have diabetes before, but now you do, or you had stroke or a heart condition, any of those can trigger you special eligibility into a plan that is far superior to the typical Medicare Advantage plan. Um, so those are some of the key things. It's a bit of a long-winded answer, but I wanted to share that educational nugget with you. And if you do go forward and complete a benefit review here at the Disability Digest, and we show you a plan and we enroll you in it, we would be your licensed insurance agent, and you would be eligible for our benefit protection program, which means that if and when you get your continuing disability review, you have access to our legal team. And our legal team wouldn't be any charge. And our legal team would help you get through the continuing disability review. Now, we can do that because as an insurance agent, although your plan has zero premium and you enroll in it and you get all these benefits, we get paid by the insurance companies to keep you happy, keep you on it. So it's a great win win for us. And we want to keep you on your benefits so that you can stay on your Medicare, so you can keep getting paid and get your Medicare benefits, and we can get paid. That's our benefit protection program. So we have a limited amount of people that we're going to be putting into this. So if it's of interest to you, if you're a member, reach out to us. If you're not, of course, we invite you to join. There will be a link below this at the end. All right, let's move on to the next one. I went to the doctor this week. He brushed me off. My blood pressure was rising despite being on meds. I actually am going through this with my mother. This is interesting. How do you approach him next time and have my symptoms limitations documented? Oh, I love it. Okay, this is what's worked. You as a patient have certain rights, and your right is to bring in and document your limitations. Blank piece of paper, but it all starts with journaling. Journal like, okay, my blood pressure is going up to 220 over whatever, and I'm there like 5 days out of the week, and I just can't seem to get it under control. And it's causing other limitations with me, a loss of appetite, I'm agitated, all those things. So you want to document your limitations in a journal, just so you can kind of keep track of what's going on. And that journal is going to be helpful in a variety of ways. Well, actually, two major ways. One is when you go into your doctor, you want to bring in your limitations written down. Just really five of your top limitations in just simple one sentence. Say, Doc, you're treating me, but this is one, two, three, four, five. I want you to make sure that this goes into my medical records. All right. And if they say no, I can't do it, or they say yeah and they don't do it, your job is to review your medical records, go to your My Chart uh, patient portal and look at it. If they resist, boom, I think you got to get rid of the doctor, because with Social Security, that journaling and that communication of your limitations, if you're a number four and you're approved here, is going to be really important to help you keep your benefits, right? And if you're trying to get approved, you definitely want to have your limitations in there so Social Security can see them. If they just see high blood pressure and they don't know like what the impact is on you, it's not as valuable of evidence, right? That's a great question. Thanks. Okay, I had a CDR about 2 months ago. How long does it take? Usually, it take a response. Okay, so this is from the interview with disability expert attorney James Mitchell Brown, right? Sometimes you don't hear anything, and no news is good news. And there was a time when I was of the opinion that you should follow up, but he says no. Just send it back and continue about your business. Follow the tips that we provide you to keep your benefits. And if they don't contact you, then, again, no news is good news, right? Um, all right. And if you're new here joining, put your questions in the chat. We'll do the best we can to get through these with the time that we have today. All right. Let's see. This is from Mo. What if you have a condition that only gets worse and I don't never get better and there's nothing out there that can help it? I don't know, Mo, if you're number four, if you're approved. um, but I think where you might be going with this is if you have a condition, it's not going to get any better. Do you still need to stay in treatment? Is that where you're going? I'm going to go that way with it. You still have to you have to think about the rules that your agreement when you received your disability award letter, that a lot of people forget, some people don't even read it, but it should need to be treated. Your conditions need to be treated by a doctor in order to continue to get paid for Social Security. So if your condition gets worse, yeah, that's unfortunate, it gets worse, but you need to stay on that track and make an effort to treat it, because Social Security goes through a review and they look at it and say, hey, man, you would be doing a lot better and possibly you could work if you were getting treated. That's what you don't want to get into that conversation with. Okay. All right. I'm looking into making some extra money. Me too. Online without being employed by anyone. Great idea. Will this have to be reported? Yes, you should report all your income. And you can have an online business. I think it's a fantastic thing to do. There's plenty of options out there now. to do that. Now, just a few basic tips on it. If you're not making any money yet, I think a lot of people get all worked up about, you know, losing their benefits and all this stuff. Uh, but you can work and keep your benefits. The regulation right now, which is on our YouTube channel and everywhere, if you can't find it, let us know, is you can earn up to $970 a month. Anything under that, you can do it as many months as you want, and it doesn't trigger a trial work period. Um, so that is no impact on your benefits. Now, if you're going to do the working online, that 970 would be a net after your expenses. So maybe you're grossing 1100 a month and you've got your phone, you know, you've got some other mobility devices, whatever it is, printer, lights, who knows. But you deduct those, brings it down, right? Um, that's good. All right. All right, Mike, you've been collecting since 2016. Collecting, that's an interesting word. I hadn't heard that in a while. Uh, okay, I've told I might be able to use the credits I have from the UK, but not sure since this is a national insurance. You got me on that one. I know that if you are not sure or want to know how much your Social Security disability check is, you go to your My SSA account, either log into an account that you've created or create one, and you go under the estimated benefits tab and it will show you. Now, if you're already approved or if you're applying, they don't have that in there. Last I knew, they didn't anyway. Okay. Okay, Effie, if you're on an advantage plan, then you're not subject to that 20% unless you have some, maybe you have a plan that's not very robust. Um, you know, welcome, invite you to do a benefit review. We get to the bottom of it. Okay, let's see. This is one from Roy. How accurately are they when they say in my letter I could be reviewed again in 5 to 7 years? Could it be sooner? My audio is out. Can everybody hear me? What's going on? I see it's working down here. Can you give me an audio check, folks? That'd be great. I think so because I'm getting some responses to questions. Um, there's no consistency with this, and it's highly unorganized. And the interviews and the segments that I've released with Attorney James Brown, he explains that local offices have a certain quota they've got to meet, and you know they get those quotas out, and that's it. And maybe they don't have time to get to you within your 5 to 7 year range. But here's what I will tell you: the statistics are very, very difficult to ignore because when the Biden budget was released in August of last year and that was reviewed, they allocated 1.7 billion to the integrity program. It's a lot of money. The integrity program is really for disability reviews. So they're going to go through and review about 20% of disability recipients annually. And the reason why they're doing it is because for every dollar they spend, they're getting $9 back. So they are going through, and if you've paid attention to any of the comments in the YouTube, group or other groups that you're in, people are getting taken off of benefits. It's unfortunate, but that's the purpose of the reviews. So the numbers are there. The best thing that I can give for advice on this, we can speculate all day long, and we're not going to get anywhere. Is just to be prepared. Do what you can do to control the controllables in this, which is your treatment, right? If you're going to make some money, it's great. Just make sure you stay within the guidelines, follow the rules that we provide, report it, right? All that's fine. All right, let's see here. Okay, all right. Thanks for the audio check. Um, my daughter is 4. She gets half of her mom's Social Security. I will get the higher amount next year on my Social Security. Will my daughter get the higher amount? Is it automatic or not? The question isn't clear to me, but I can explain it this way. if you're a parent and you have, let's say you have two children under 18, and your check is, I'll use simple math, $2,000 a month, then actually, that's not a good example. I'm going to do it this way. Let's say your check is $1,000 a month. Then your oldest child would receive half of your check monthly. It's $500. The second child, youngest, would receive 25%, $250. So you have 500 for one child, 250 for another, and you're getting 1,000. When the oldest child reaches age 18, there's a few exceptions, and then their check goes away, and then the youngest slides into the $500 spot. That's how it works. And there's a family max, and there's a video that's on our YouTube channel that covers this as well. But hopefully that answers your question. Okay. So some of you are repeating, many are saying audio is clear, others are saying there's no audio. So, and I see my audio is on here. So I checked the sound on your computer. Uh, on maybe there's a mute feature on these YouTube lives on your end. I don't know. Um, all right, I've been through the whole process. Denied after hearing once. Now on claim two, I need to request a hearing, but need to complete form SSA 795 as well due to the pandemic. Unable to drive. Not sure what the question is, but um, if there's a question in there, I'd be glad to answer it. Oh, here we go. Health related issues. I'm not requesting this hearing to. Okay. Yeah, you don't want, you want to, here's the thing. So the question is, do I request a hearing or do I start over again? I don't know all the details, but here's something you need to consider. If you're going through the disability approval process and you have a case that, for example, goes to a hearing and you get denied and you choose not to appeal it, then you have to start all over again. And when you apply the next time, you can apply, but your application date is going to be the date after that hearing because Social Security, their regulations are that they listened and heard everything that you had to say, and you went to a hearing and you were denied. Then you chose not to appeal it. And this could also happen if you're an initial application. This has unfortunately happened to many. They apply, they don't understand, the approval expectations, and they get frustrated. So they don't appeal it, and then they go to apply again. And it might have taken 10 months in that initial application gap, but they've lost those 10 months. And if their check is $1,500 a month, they can't get back into that. So they've lost $15,000. So if you've got a solid case, which hopefully you do, you followed all the information that we've provided you, and you have your doctor's support, and you have all the evidence, you have your forms filled out right, you went to the independent medical exam, you did that, you've got video evidence in your file, all that stuff, right? Then I, it's game on. I'd definitely go for it, right? And I have something here that I'll put in. Um, I'm going to put in the link here. It's approval expectations. This is something that we provide to members so you can get an understanding of what the approval expectations are, like the time frames. Okay. One more snippet I want to throw out on this one. If you go to a disability hearing and your case is denied, you have the opportunity to appeal it. That's called the appeals council, right? Once you go through the appeals council, the approval chances are low. They're like 11 something percent. And you get a decision and it's denied. So your appeals council decision was denied. You can then have another appeal, goes to federal court. Last stop on the ride. When your case has been appealed or denied at the appeals council and is in federal court, you can start a new application. right? And then you can have an application for federal appeals that would be for the whole case, right? All that time. Or you can start a new application, right? That would be based on when the appeal, I think it's can be started when the appeals council was denied. So then you have two cases going. This is a good strategy, and you can take whichever one comes first, right? Whichever one gets approved. Um, Now, again, the new application is going to have less than back benefits, but sometimes something is better than nothing. Keep that in mind. Okay, let's see what else we have here for questions. You've had some good ones today. Um, mm, okay, don't have quite enough credits. All right. Well, this is a good topic. So, to get your disability approved, you need 40 credits. And if you have 38 or 37, you don't have enough, right? So, what do you do? Many people don't know that they can restore them, and you can get one credit per quarter, and you need to earn, don't hold me to the exact number, but I think it's $1,560 in a quarter to earn one credit. So in this situation, if you are at 38 credits and you need 40, you need to work 6 months, and each quarter you need to earn that $1,560. Now, if that's what it takes to restore your disability check, you should give some serious consideration to doing it, because it's really the only bucket of money that you have access to if you can't work. So then you're probably saying, well, what am I going to do for work? How am I going to get right? That I don't have all the answers to that. I'm just saying that that's something that you should definitely consider finding a way to make that work. Okay. Um, mm, if you lose your benefits during your CDR, do you lose your Medicare? I'm not sure. I think your Medicare stays in place for a period of time. I don't remember this component of it. But if you lose your benefits eventually, you will lose your Medicare. I'm not sure on that one. That's a really good question. Um, okay. At what point does your hobby, like making a little money and becoming a small business, require you to inform Social Security? Well, if you're doing something as a hobby that is generating a profit, my understanding is a hobby is something that you do, and it doesn't generate money. So, just to be on the safe side, if you do something that generates money, and this is from Larry, great question, just tell Social Security that you've got a little part-time business. And it's totally fine to say this, because they're going to ask you, well, how much money are you going to make, Larry? And you can say, well, I'm going to try to make 100, $150, well below the 970. And that's it. So then you've checked the box, because in your award letter, it clearly says, if you work or earn any money, let us know. So you've done that. And do you really know how much money you're going to make? Maybe you do, but it doesn't seem that way. Right. So just follow the rules. All right, here. Does your team work with people out? Does your team work with people, also security, disability planning, start a new business? We don't do business planning, but if you got an idea, I mean, it's nothing formal. I'm always kind of a entrepreneurial type person. I'd be interested in hearing about it. Um, but we don't have any, like, board or panel that will Shark Tank your business idea. Interesting concept. Um, okay, 64 years old, waiting for a date to do a hearing with a lawyer. Could take early retirement. Will that affect me? Wise decision or wait? Good question. Boy, you guys got some really good questions today. All right, here's the deal. You can take early retirement at age 62, right? So let's say your early retirement check is $1,500, right? And your disability check is usually 40%, and sometimes a little higher than that. So let's say it's $2,000 is what your Social Security disability amount is. And if you take your early at the $1,500 check and then you're going through the disability approval process, when you get approved, your check will go from the 1,500 to the 2,000. Okay. So sounds good, right? The drawback is this: if you don't get approved and you take the $1,500 check, then you're stuck with a $1,500 check for life, right? So, I mean, if you're in your early 60s, it could be 20 years, right? 20 years, that's 6,000 a year, so that's, I mean, right? What's 6 times 20? It's a lot of money. So that's what you have to really you've got to weigh the risk reward, right? A lot of that has to do with how strong your case is, I would say. Okay, now after having a knee replacement, will I still be considered having a disability? Hmm, don't know. If there's other things going on, sometimes it's closed, like a closed period of disability. Stroke victims is another one. You have a stroke and you lose your mobility or speech for a while, but it can recover. So it could be a closed period of disability. So other factors in there, I don't know for sure. Pass program. I, I don't know the pass program real well. It's an SSI program where you can save money. You can make money, and this is not for Social Security disability recipients. This is for somebody who's on SSI or welfare or social insurance, the other program. We have the medical qualifications, but you didn't work enough. In that environment, you can make money, put it into a pass program, and you can use that funds in the pass program um, for uh, other expenses. The one thing that I have profiled here is the stable account, which is a great resource. You should look into that. Just on our YouTube channel, type in the word stable, STABLE. You can put up to $100,000 in a stable account, and you can be a disability recipient that's also on Medicaid. If you're in that category, this could apply to you, where you can work, allocate money. You could put it in there. It doesn't impact your benefits. You wouldn't lose your Medicaid. Um, that's a really cool program. So good. Listen, folks, I am on a schedule and I've got to wrap up for today, but I just want to go through the highlights. First of all, you've been an awesome group. So, pat on the back to all of you for the really good questions. You stumped me on one, which is, I like it. Um, so we talked about treatment, how it's necessary to do that. We talked about some of the timelines. We talked about the membership and how to get the best use out of it. So if you're new here and you like the work that we do, which I sure hope you do, then subscribe, ring the bell so you get notices. And if you want to participate in these, you can check usually Wednesday, Thursday in advance, and you can put a reminder on your YouTube channel if you just click it and it will remind you. So, and if you're not a member or you haven't contacted us in a while, like Effie, if you want to go through and you want us to do an evaluation, there's a link below. Either join us as a member or update your membership. There's no charge for it. We're supported by ads and sponsors and services, so we can do all of this stuff at no charge to you. And then we can help you once you complete your evaluation and we understand where you're at or what your needs are. We can help you with the information that we've been collecting since 2006, and that's helped 171,000 people here now. So that's how we can do it. Get, keep, and maximize your disability benefits. Wishing everybody a fantastic Friday. And until the next time, make it a great day. Thanks for tuning in.